What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of Watching Paint Dry here on Another Letdown. My name is Zach from Another Letdown Media and the This Is Difficult video game podcast. I'll be one of your hosts this evening. And joining me on the line, he's new, and he's the only one here tonight. It's our good buddy Mike, a.k.a. Chamali. How's it going, dude?
Oh, well. How are you?
Good. It's been a busy day. Picked up yet another Game Boy for the ever-growing pile of ridiculousness. This one is in basically, it's in ideal shape for a used Game Boy that I paid $40 for. Would retail for between 80 to 90 anywhere else. So it was a pretty good steal.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But of course, it involved taking my daughter to a thrift store where I was like, all kinds of weird people go in these places, but it was fine. So we're here painting miniatures because there's an old saying that says if a miniatures painter ever runs out of painting projects to paint, he or she will die. So we're just trying to stave off death for as long as possible. And we do that by meeting up late on a Saturday night after we should have thought about going to bed and doing that. I mean, Mike and I are both fathers, and we have small children. It requires us to have some amount of sleep, but bugger that, we're going to paint anyway. As with all the shows that we host on the Another Letdown Media channel, as well as the This Is Difficult podcast network at large, we believe in civil rights for absolutely everyone and in being as inclusive as possible. So any comments or activity actively working against that goal are not welcome and will not be tolerated. So let's paint. Yes, there are two of us, so I will hit the 2 button today. Perfect. Great. So I'm picking up right where I left off with Professor X last week. He's coming out really well. I'm actually really, really happy with this. I got to tighten things up around his eyes a little bit. And do a little bit of layering, a little bit of dry brushing around a little chair thingy and the base, and then that's we're gonna send this off to the done pile. And then after that, I've got the Penguin, Oswald Chesterfield Cobblepot from Gotham City Chronicles. I've been waiting on this one for quite a long time. He's one of my favorite villains. I'm pretty excited about it. What about you? What do you got?
That's awesome. I'm going to finish up the Black Goat here, and then I probably won't finish her off. I'm probably just going to put a wash on and then let her dry some. And then I have a whole bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D. miniatures to paint from the Zombicide Marvel game.
Nice. So I finally came to a conclusion on Zombicide Marvel and what I'm going to do moving forward. I think that I'm going to stay the course because, the debate that we're having right now is, do we, like Adam and I, because we've been printing things at Marvel Crisis Protocol scale, do we offload the Crisis Protocol stuff and just start over? And I think the answer is I've printed way too much to pull that, to do that at this point. So I'm going to, moving forward, if the character has not, if I'm not going to get that in Zombicide, I'm going to print it in Zombicide scale, because what we're going to end up ultimately using these for is OGs, right? Which is a much more approachable format than either Crisis Protocol or Zombicide for most players. Someone as indoctrinated into the Marvel stuff as we are, I suppose, we'll play anything Marvel, but
So it's funny you say that. I think Zombicide is actually more approachable for people.
As far as a rule set, yeah, I agree. But I think, like OGs, what we've been doing with OGs is fantastic. And I wish it would approach doneness. Unfortunately, we're also at that point where we just, we're stuck. We've been stuck for quite some time.
Ooh.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind on that. But I don't know. I think I'd rather print things at a scale where multiple systems use it,
I would agree. I would say that the OG system and Zombicide systems are relatively close in general anyways.
Yeah.
If not the same.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, it doesn't, a mini's a mini's a mini. It's not going to preclude you from using it if it's slightly bigger.
Right.
It might not fit on the table as well, but
yeah, it won't necessarily fit in the box, but we'll know which box it's supposed to be in,
Yeah. 100% sure. I think I put way too much water in this wet palette, and it spilled over, and now it created a mess.
Yeah, that's why I kind of tend to use the middle of the wet palette, because I almost always put too much water in it.
Shoot. Well, I'll have a dyed sponge. Oh well.
We just call it learning and growing and move on.
I guess I won't have to water down my paint, though. That's good.
Yeah, that is usually good. So before we went live, we were chatting about my God of War Ragnarok playthrough that just ended last night. Now, that is not including side quests. I have not done the side quests yet. And part of that was, and I'm actually kind of happy about this, you and I were talking about how abominable and whiny Atreus gets in Ragnarok.
Yes.
Your sidekick this is major spoilers, so here you go. But the game's been out for quite a long time at this point. Your sidekick changes. So Atreus goes off and does his own thing, and you get Freya.
Well, that's cool.
And she's awesome. She's so much more competent than he is, and her story is so much more interesting.
That actually sounds very cool.
Yeah, it's like I'm actually really enjoying the endgame content. And I said when I closed the stream down yesterday for the last time with that game, I said, you know what? I'm looking forward to playing this off camera. Like, it's genuinely fun again.
That actually sounds cool. Now, does she have the same skill set as Atreus?
Exactly the same, yes. I mean, she has her own skill tree. She's a Valkyrie. And so she has Valkyrie abilities. But, like, she's I'm almost... Disgrace is not the right word, but, like, she's fallen Valkyrie or something like that.
Okay.
So she's not, fully doing the Valkyrie thing. But regardless, I mean, she's very competent. She has the same trick arrows that Atreus does, so her controls are very similar from the Kratos point of view. And she's around for most of the game, so, like, you get used to her. There's a couple of segments in the main game where Atreus is off doing something elsewhere, and you need a sidekick, so they give you Freya instead. And she's awesome. She's a genuine joy to play with.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's good.
It is
good to hear.
Yeah. So I'm excited about the endgame content. Like I said, I'm going to do it completely off camera. Just like the reason I didn't play PS4 God of War on stream was because I didn't know how I was going to feel about it. And I ended up enjoying it very greatly, but not bothering with the side quests. I just played it for the plot and was done with it. I regret that. I genuinely regret that because the gameplay is fantastic, and Ragnarok is no different. Like the core gameplay loop is really, really tight.
So I haven't played Ragnarok, but I played the original, and the side quests are what made me really love the game, more so than the actual story itself. I really didn't care for the ending of the original,
yeah,
which
I agree
was basically Atreus is Loki.
Yeah, the ending was weak. I will give you that. They really play into that in Ragnarok. Like, that is the whole story.
Okay.
Which is a bummer, but also, like, entirely predictable.
That kind of sucks, because that's the other thing that was really good about the the PS4 version, the original remake of God of War, or whatever.
Newest chapter, yeah.
Story was interesting. It was like, oh, this is not the same God of War where it's just Kratos mad at gods, go kill things. I mean, he is still mad at gods and kills things, but
right. Yeah, no, I mean, it's not predictable in that sense. It's predictable in the sense that the developers chose to go that direction with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, yeah, Ragnarok, where God of War PS4 was like an 8.6 for me, Ragnarok is like a 7-2.
Okay.
So it's still very good and worth playing, but there was a lot I was griping about. I guess is what it comes down to.
I can understand that.
Let's go one shade lighter on that one too.
But other than that, what else have you been up to?
Not a whole lot. I'm preparing for. So I've got my my teaching observation on Monday with my principal, but like my principal's retiring, so I'm like, I get, like, I know you have to do this, like it's part of the job and part of, you know, my responsibility as a teacher to be observed, but like I don't want her to rubber stamp it, you know.
Yeah.
This is the first time in 10 years that I genuinely identified something that I really want help with, and I think I can do better, but I need like a pointer in the right direction.
Yep.
And I'm just worried she's not going to take it seriously.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, that doesn't mean necessarily. Sometimes, like, people just move on to bigger and better things, and that doesn't mean they stop loving what they previously have done.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
Yeah, correct. It's definitely a time will tell thing. But I also think that so I found out that I teach at 2 schools, you know that. I found out that I only have to be observed at one of them every year, which is something that the administrators knew and never told me. I just thought it was a fluke that I was only ever observed at one school.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Like, I didn't push it. Obviously, I don't want to be observed more than once, but because that's, you know, added stress on everybody. But
yeah,
like I asked, you know, I'm observed at this one school every single year. Isn't it about high time that the other school observed me? And the superintendent was like, oh, yeah, that's probably exactly as it should be. Like, you know, it should trade off, bounce between the schools, share the burden.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, well, next year, and I've already approached my principal at the second school about this. Like, next year, I'd really like you to observe me and give me a fresh perspective, fresh set of eyes, you know?
Yeah. That's good.
So that's going to happen. It also, like, it's easier to, like, she's easier to approach than my principal at my school that I'm at 4 days a week. You know, part of that is because we've been friends for 10 years before she got the job, but
I get that. I get that. But that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I've been playing some more Midnight Suns lately.
Dude, I'm so excited to get into that game.
I am at the last level because they tell you, they're like, this is the final level. Make sure you're ready before you go into it.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me mess around some more. Because I just really love the combat system. So I was just going through and playing some more. Leveling some people up, getting some friendship levels up, things like that. One second. Looking at my archives and seeing what I did here. And then earlier today, I was like, you know what? Let's go into the final level. That was a mistake.
Mistakes were made.
So it's one of those games that it's not necessarily easy.
Sure.
There is such a jump in difficulty in this level that it's like, whoa. What were you thinking? Like,
yeah.
I understand you want to make the final level and the final boss real difficult, but like,
wasn't there a game that I played recently that was like that?
I want to say we've had this conversation.
We
recently.
definitely have.
I don't know what it was though.
Was it Gears Tactics?
Maybe?
I want to say it was Gears Tactics. So what I'm doing right now is I'm highlighting his shirt back to white, but I'm not going like super into the corners. He's got a white shirt, but I wanted some of the Null Oil to do its job here. So there's shadows like around the buttons and stuff. It takes a fair amount of precision to pull this off. I'm not very good at it, but I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get this base coat done. I'm trying to be neat as possible, but this one is my least favorite mold because his hand is molded to his chest. And his hand needs to be white.
Yeah.
But I have 35 of them, so I'm sure there's going to be some mistakes in here.
Yeah.
There's like a 100% chance.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not 100%, but like 99.999999, rounds up to 100 at some point. Oh, so I saw that you discovered that Metroid Prime Remaster was not all 3 games today.
So we watched the Nintendo thing, and I wasn't really paying too much attention.
You were fighting with mic issues, yeah.
And I was fighting with microphone issues. I was watching on my phone. There was just a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, Metroid Prime, that's awesome. I just assumed that they were just porting the trilogy over from the Wii.
And I was like, yeah.
I was like, they made it once before, so why wouldn't they just port over that game?
Right.
And I was wrong. I'm not a huge fan of them doing it again. Even if it is a complete remake, it's like, well...
It seems like a little bit of a backpedal, right?
Yeah, it seems almost that they're just trying to cash in on nostalgia again.
Yeah. Which Nintendo loves to do.
And I'm not a huge fan of that.
No, I've never been a fan of that. But that said, I've never had the ability to play Metroid Prime. So I bought it immediately.
That's fair.
Paul and Adam were arguing yesterday whether or not the pre-order had gone live, and I was like, I haven't even looked. And I just happened Kara was sleeping this morning, and I was like, I'll take a look. And there it was, right on the Nintendo store. So I was like, all right, well, I guess we're doing this. I spent altogether way too much money today.
Can you only get it on the Nintendo store?
That's the only place I looked.
Okay.
But I didn't. I take that back. I did look on Amazon because I also ordered the Foo Fighters movie, which surprisingly enough, I don't already own.
I just assumed it was a new movie, to be completely honest with you.
Well, I mean, it is.
See, that's why you don't know
as of last year.
Oh, well, yeah, I am kind of surprised that you don't own that already.
Yeah. So it dropped on Blu-ray right around the same time that. Oh God, I'm gonna pull a really regrettable turn of phrase, but right around the same time that Taylor Hawkins dropped. So I think that's why we didn't buy it, my buddy and I. But it was $10 on Amazon today, and I was like, all right, yeah, that's fair. It's marked down 71%. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yep. I think I'm going to paint this in. It's supposed to be white, but it's not going to look good being out there like that. And I painted it on all the other 20. Am I quiet?
No. I was
okay.
going to comment on, but I can't. You're off camera, so I can't see what you're doing.
Well, that's silly of me.
Yeah. Okay.
There was a white spot on his arm here that just came over from the shield crest.
Sure, yeah.
And so I left it, and then I didn't leave it on any of the other ones I've painted already.
Right.
And I think this is the only model that has it on his arm. So it's going to look off, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to paint it in and let there be a little texture there. Nice little sloppy go there.
So how about that Marvel Champions game you and Broody and I are playing?
That is, we're definitely working through that.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about Magneto. I'm not going to lie.
I am too. I really don't want to fight him 10 times. But Broody said that he went only through on 5 times his first go.
So, okay, that's heartening.
A little, yeah. I think the most we've had trouble with is maybe twice. We've always done everything in like 2 goes, right?
Yeah. So Alex and Sammy and I have a standing house rule in LCGs where if we lose, we're done. We lose. We're done. It's just it. Unless we give ourselves 1 mulligan per campaign if things just go catastrophically wrong in the first couple of turns.
Okay.
But if we lose, we lose, and we accept that. So we were playing, I think it's right behind me, The Circle Undone, Arkham Horror campaign.
Okay.
And we did an amazing, we had amazing teamwork, and we decided to do, we were doing so well, we were like, oh, let's do a side quest, which is something you can do in Arkham. And we chose to do that, and the side quest killed us. And we were like, that sucks.
Yeah, that does suck.
And it just felt bad because we were really fond of the decks we were putting together. We had plans for them.
Did you mulligan that one?
No, we'd already used our mulligan for the campaign.
Now, correct me if I haven't really played Arkham Horror that much, the card game there.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understand, there is a little more in-depth to their story than there is Marvel. And by little, I mean a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Like, if you lose or win something in a certain way, it actually changes the next.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah.
Whereas Marvel Champions is just you win or you lose.
Yeah, it's very. The campaign adds a little bit, but not a lot.
No, yeah, it adds like a comic panel. But no,
Yeah.
Arkham Horror, really, you want to win, and you want to win big.
Okay. Because
it actually incentivizes things like Sammy being the god of Arkham and going absolutely ham nanas.
That's good.
And taking risks.
Because I only played part of the first campaign, like the base set.
Right.
And I just couldn't get anyone into it, and so I got rid of that. And eventually I got Marvel. And Marvel's a little easier because people are more willing to pick it up and drop it, and it's not I have to commit to this.
Yeah, that was the biggest problem we had getting it started. Is it started out as just me and Alex hanging out at the store because I would be running Friday Night Magic and just bored to tears because I'm not playing. So I texted Alex. I'm like, hey, I'm bored. What do you got? And he's like, Arkham card game. I'm like, but it's Arkham. It's gonna take 8 hours. He goes, no, this is gonna be fine. It only take 6 hours. I was like, all right, fine. That's about the duration of a Friday Night Magic. Let's be real. And so we started Night of the Zealot, And I was like, damn, this game's dope. You know, what's the commitment here? And he goes, well, it's only a 3-parter. And I was like, all right, great. So we played the first 2, and then my friend Mike was banging around this door. Mike Fitzpatrick. So, you know, yet another Mike. And he was like, hey, can I jump in? I know the rules. And I'm like, oh, great, perfect. Yeah, let's finish up this campaign. We got 3 of us now. It'll be a lot of fun. And then Sammy came back from college for reasons. And actually, I think this is the timeline puts him right before you met him. So, or met us. And so we started the second campaign, and we're like, oh man, this is an 8-parter. But like, because we were already so invested in Arkham and you know, knew the characters and the mythos and all that really well, it slotted right in. But I can definitely see why that wouldn't necessarily work for everybody, you know?
Yep.
Although I did just play Arkham 87 with my students, and they are desperate for more. Like, they want more Arkham, and I'm like, all right, this is 4th through 8th grade. Like, they want it. I'm like, dang. Am I about to bring in Arkham proper? They want to play Arkham proper really badly, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like, that game is so rare, and
the commitment, yeah, second edition is almost impossible to get down to.
Yeah, exactly.
I would probably not bring it in.
Well, what I'll probably do is bring in like the app and just put the board on the projector.
You could do that, yeah.
So it's like minimal piece wear and tear. I've already, like, I brought in Sentinels Definitive Edition, which I don't really care about wear and tear because I can just get replacement card. I just text the warehouse and get a replacement card. No big deal. But like, all right, yeah, actually, specifically, I just text Paul's brother, or Matt Kroll, one or the other. And so whatever, but like the first thing my 4th grader did was bend Wraith. And I was like, no, stop. Don't do that. Hey, RPD. Yes, my students desperately want to be trapped in Arkham. That is a fact. All right. So you guys yelled at me for not making his blanket plaid last week. I'm going to attempt it. I'm going to attempt purple and green plaid.
Okay.
And we're going to see what happens. I need a smaller brush.
Okay. Try this.
Listening.
So, plaid is normally, you have 3 different colors.
Right.
You have the one purple, and you'll have the cross-section of a light green, and then another cross-section of a green, of that same light green, where on top of that, when those 2 colors cross, it's going to be an even thicker green.
Okay, fair enough. Acceptance. Welcome to the hecklers. Thank you for the follow.
So my thought is you do a base of one color, either whether that be purple or green.
So I did it purple.
And then you do very watered down green.
All right, I'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens. I'm going to do like some weird innocuous corner of this to start with and see what happens.
Where you just want it to be green enough to recognize that it's green, but thin enough that you can see the purple through on the inside.
Yeah.
I really need to pull you up the stream because I can't see what you're doing. So that would be a good idea.
Usually a good idea.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, this will work. I just gotta go through with a darker green at some point too.
Well, if you do a cross section of the green, it should be. That's where it should be the darker.
Right. I have to redo the yellow here, but that's all right. That's not a big deal. Ouch. RPD, just to say, yeah, we will be bringing back Arkham at some point. I just have no idea when. Obviously, with that Friday slot that I streamed in yesterday, if people are available, then I'll bring it back. But that's admittedly a pretty late commitment, so we'll see. It's all improvisational, but it will come back at some point. Just question mark as to when. Oh, ooh. Yeah, no, Blink's been mentioning it too. It's definitely something we want to do. We were halfway through a campaign, but I got to coordinate with Jacqueline and Broody and Greg and who else? Who's our fourth in that one? Oh, Jared. I know Jared has a pretty rigid bedtime, so. So yeah, I like how this is coming out, but I think what I want to do is go back with a finer brush and put a little black in there too.
Oh yeah, that might be a good idea.
Just as a little bit of a punch up, basically. So my sister officially closed on her house yesterday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's exciting news.
It is.
It's very stressful.
Yeah. Well, especially in this day and age, like the hoops you have to jump through are insane. And like down where you are and where she is, the housing market is way better than it is up here. I mean, what we could afford literally anywhere else in the country would have been a much, much bigger house. I love our house, don't get me wrong. But, you know, it's literally... I joke all the time that it is literally 0% of what we wanted it to be. Like, literally none of what we were looking for is in this house, and yet we fell in love with it and bought it. Which is
interesting that happens.
Right?
Yeah. Like, that's kind of what happened with our... Well, there was more than 0, but, like...
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm exaggerating, I guess, a little bit, but, like, you know, I wanted a garage. I didn't get a garage. I wanted an office. I got an office. But I initially was hoping that my office would be a basement space. You know?
Yeah.
This actually looks really good. I'm actually really happy with the way this came out. The
good.
Blending on the two greens came out really well.
That's really good.
I just want to throw a little black in there.
So you didn't get to watch Black Panther?
I did not. Yeah, we tried and that didn't happen. just didn't happen.
You gonna try again?
At some point, yeah. But like, I'm just not in a hurry, you know.
I know exactly what you mean. I think Ant-Man came out recently, or is coming out, or something.
Came out yesterday, yeah.
I don't even know.
I don't even care, I'll be honest.
Exactly. That's why I don't know. It's like I saw that there's a lot more big hubbub about it, and I'm like, oh, must be releasing soon.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's like
I also heard that it sucks. So
I read the spoilers about the post-credits scene, and that's really
a smaller brush.
I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Don't care. I'm actually kind of disappointed if what I read was true, but
well, I haven't read anything, nor will I. I have somehow managed to avoid spoilers for every major comic book movie in the last 10 years. So I think that's what gives me confidence in my why I don't care to watch things in the theater anymore. It's just it's not important to me. I would rather sit on the couch with my cat and my kid, or not my kid, if she's asleep, and my food, my beer, or a kombucha or whatever, and just enjoy.
I get that. I do.
I don't I should be clear though. I don't like pausing movies. Once I hit play, I'm not stopping for anybody. Which is a fault I have, and I admit that freely. All right, there's the plaid. I am. Come on, focus. Yeah, I'm really happy with that plaid.
That looks cool.
Yeah.
Nice shot.
Thank you. All right. Now the car. How do I want to do this? I think I'm going to try dry brushing first and see where that takes us. Oh, I don't have a dry brush for this color. Problem with dry brushes is they get stained. Oh, here we go. Oh, I got a really old one. This will work. This is the first brush I ever owned. No joke. This is the one from 7th grade. A Citadel small dry brush.
Nice.
It looks like absolute danger zone mode, but I think it'll work perfectly for this application.
Good. That's all that matters.
Yep.
But I was going to say, I'm normally with you with the pausing of movies.
Mm-hmm.
But Black Panther didn't care. There got to a point where I was just like, I'm tired, I'm going to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway through the movie. And my wife was like, yep, let's finish it tomorrow. And that's what we did.
Nice. Well, my wife will tell you that it is a genuine fault of mine. I get very cranky when she falls asleep in front, and it happens every single time. So you'd think I'd be used to it by now. She always falls asleep during movies. It's. I guess she just gets comfortable, and unless we're at the theater, if we're at the theater, she doesn't.
I mean, I can get that too. If you're at home and you get comfortable and you're laying down or something.
Yeah.
On the couch.
Kids asleep,
Yeah. I definitely get that.
Mm-hmm. My thing, for me, I try not to start something if I feel like I might fall asleep. That's what UK panel shows are for. I don't mind falling asleep in front of a panel show because I don't give a crap about what happens in it. It's not important to. It doesn't change my life in it. Well, not that a Marvel movie changes my life in any way either, but I don't feel like I'm missing anything.
Yeah, I get that. I definitely get that.
For me, pausing comes pretty easily because it's also due to mainly just relifting riff tracks for background music. Yeah. Yeah, you have a different approach to things, RPD, than most people do, and I respect that.
But at the same time, so we were talking that you like watching them at your house now.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree for the most part. But there are some movies that are just better in theaters.
Such as?
So, Top Gun Maverick.
Did not see. I haven't seen the first Top Gun, so
I'm sorry.
I don't care much for Tom Cruise.
Well, I can understand that. I don't care for him as a person.
It's not even as a person. I just don't care about him, I guess.
Oh, that's fair. I enjoy him as an actor. I think he's a pretty good actor. And,
now, I should be clear. He's had a couple of roles that I really do think are funny. Les Grossman in Tropic Thunder is a classic.
I'm not a huge Tropic Thunder fan.
I don't care for the movie in general, but that character was awesome.
I don't even remember him, to be honest.
He was the fat producer.
Okay. But, yes, I think I like him as an actor. I think he's a very skilled actor, and I enjoy his movies. Like, I enjoyed Top Gun, I enjoyed Maverick, and I enjoy the Mission Impossible movies.
I tried really hard on the Mission Impossible movies because they're some of my brother's favorites, and I just not a chance.
So the first movies are very different from the newer movies.
Are they? I mean, I do like Simon Pegg's writing, so maybe I'll have to go back and give them a shot. But
the first movies are more spy thriller, and the later movies are more action heist.
Okay, you have me at heist. You have my attention now.
They're definitely more heist-ish movies than... I wouldn't call them a heist movie, but they're heist-ish.
Sure.
Because you have the bringing together of the group, and, here's your specialist for this, here's this specialist, here's your leader, things like that. And Tom Cruise is generally he's the jack of all trades, I can do everything, blah, 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 blah. But you still have to bring in your tech expert and things like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of how like the Bond movies have become too.
Yeah. I haven't seen the latest Bond movie. I really need to. Uh-oh. Your camera locked up for a second. It's all good.
Oh. Yeah, I haven't seen the latest couple of Bond movies either.
My students are working on a project right now where they have to make spy cars. So as a demonstration, I showed them, and they're learning about Creative Commons licensing and fair use and stuff like that through that lens. And so I showed them some examples of Bond cars, and they're like, "Wow, what, can I watch this?" I'm like, "Well, check with your parents first. They are PG-13." But like, yeah, in general you can. They're in general they're pretty tame, all things being equal. Other than just don't be Sean Connery.
I was about to say the original.
Yeah, the originals are pretty gnarly. Probably don't watch those, even though Dr. No is a classic. But like my favorite is Casino Royale.
Casino Royale is really good.
It's so much fun. All right. I am really, really happy with how this turned out in terms of dry brushing.
That looks really good.
Yeah, I think it actually looks like metal. We talked last week about the sort of faux metal thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what inspired me there.
Good.
Now, the question is, Do I want to distress it? Or do I want it to just go for shiny?
Shiny.
Okay, then I need to go one color lighter. That's kind of what I was leaning towards, but I wanted your opinion as well. Because I value your opinion.
Thank you. I might actually be. Okay. I really think Daniel Craig is up there in probably the best Bonds, though.
I agree.
He might even be the best Bond. But I've never watched them all back to back to get a solid opinion.
Sure. I love George Lazenby, but I think it's because he was only in one of them.
He had the potential.
He did. But I respect his decision to bow out, you know?
I didn't know it was his decision.
Yep, it was. He chose to only do one.
Well, that's interesting. Do you know why?
I did at one point, but I don't anymore.
Very interesting.
I bet you RPD could look that up for us. I'm also I'm happy to eat crow if I'm wrong on that too.
Yeah, I'm very curious to know. I've heard a couple things, and I can't remember what I heard. I would know it if I heard it again, type of thing.
Yeah.
But I think there was something like it was a different production company or something like that. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. I'm leaning towards. But maybe I'm making stuff up.
It could be. I mean, I could be totally off base too.
But that doesn't stop him from being an actor, a good actor.
Yes, Cannonball Run, so good. I do love Cannonball Run. I am extraordinarily happy with this. I'm gonna turn the extra light off for a second. No, it doesn't really help much.
Is there a light on this thing? I don't see one. Oh.
Mine has one. I don't know which model you have, but
a V4K. I don't see a light.
Would help if I know what model I had. I don't.
Mine just says V4K on the side.
Yours doesn't have 7 different buttons running up the middle?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah. Mine has zoom control, it has brightness, it has... Actually, I'm just curious. There we go. Brightness control coming in clutch. Now you can see some of the highlights there.
Oh, wow. I do have a brightness control, I think. Exposure, yeah.
Yeah.
That does look good.
I got color modes. Because why not?
Oh, fancy. Just use red. And then...
I know, right? Black Over the Woods done.
Done.
I
This
can
model's
do.
done? 2 seconds.
I can flip flop it.
Oh, that's trippy.
Yeah. I don't know. Is this done?
It looks pretty close to being done, if not done, from my
Yeah, no, I think the only thing left to do is the base, which is just some simple dry brushing. Oh, I got the peg thing to do too, that I forgot to paint last week on his base. which is fine. That's easy. Otherwise, of course, after implementing Cannonball Run into them, you need to tease them to seek out Megaforce on their own. Otherwise, how are the kids going to learn about the paramilitary wing of the BGs? RPD, I believe that's called the Foo Fighters.
No, it's the DGs.
The DGs, yeah. Which of all my Foo Fighters rarities, that is possibly the one I'm most proud of having. That record, because it came out right before Taylor passed away, is worth like $400 right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I paid $20 for it. But believe you me, I am not getting rid of it.
What about for 4,000?
No.
40,000.
40,000, I think about it.
400,000.
At that point, almost definitely, but nobody's offering me that.
No.
I mean, even rare Beatles records aren't worth that much.
What is the most expensive record?
I think it's some Michael Jackson thing. But I could be wildly off base there, too.
I'm just kind of curious. It's like one of those that would be interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious to know.
Because
RPD,
it's
RPD, get on that. Most expensive record in the world.
I would guess that it's either something that is like a one-off type of thing, like
yeah,
they made something and or it's something really stupid.
Yeah, probably. Yes, RPD, you did mention that, but go ahead. If you want to type it again, I will happily read it again. Burp. Wait, why did I use that? Ah, good. I do have more paper towel left. Let's get a new one.
I do like that out of the 5 different models, they look, well, 2 of them are women.
Oh, the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents?
The S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, yep.
Nice.
And they actually have different, slightly different, like, facial features and stuff.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. How are the sculpts in Zombie? Like, I hold Cool Mini or Not to a pretty high standard. Are they up to the normal standard?
I mean, I think so. They're pretty good.
Okay. The most expensive record was a one-of-a-kind recording by the Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, yes. I've heard of this.
Yeah.
It's owned by the pharmacy dude. Pharmacy
Yes,
bro, dude.
that's right. That's right. I mean, in the words of Donald Faison, Wu-Tang forever.
Like I said, something stupid.
Yep. Gotta respect Wu-Tang Clan, though. My God.
Okay, what's the most expensive non-weird? Only, only one thing in the world. So, like, the most expensive mass-produced record, I guess.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can get, like, one of those AIs to look that up.
You mean a chatbot?
Yeah.
If we don't count the stuff, the first result listed on that search was a printing of the Beatles' White Album was auctioned at $792,000. Yes, I do remember it. I thought it was the White Album, but I wasn't certain.
That would make sense. Beatles, White Album. Okay. Yeah. I accept this.
I will stop projecting your reality now.
So $700,000. I mean, 400's almost there.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, so this is the Hulk Hulk mini is on focus. Focus here? No.
Put your hand behind it. Like flat, parallel to the table. You're getting there.
There
it is.
There we go.
There it is.
So, like, that's actually really well detailed.
Yeah, that is.
You get a lot of those. It's not super exaggerated like some minis are, and it fits Hulk. Yeah. I mean, some of his muscles are a little, or the fact that he has like 8 million abs is.
Yeah, it's a little absurd, but
I mean, if anyone would, it would be Hulk.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I think that's more or less how I wanted the base to come out. What I did was I dry brushed Necron compound over the Mechanica Standard Gray with Nuln Oil in the deepest part of the recesses.
Okay. Looks good.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It's not exactly what I envisioned, but it'll work. Now the question is, it's got to be yellow for his base ring, right?
Oh, that's right. You guys paint the base rings.
Yeah. Or is it the green?
No, it would either be yellow or silver, I think.
All right, I'm gonna go with yellow.
Yellow is a solid choice, but yeah. I can see silver being a backup.
Mm-hmm. Where's that brush that I just put away? There it is.
And it's a holiday weekend.
No, it's not.
President's Day.
We don't have that off.
Oh.
That's why I've got an observation on Monday.
Oh, that's right. You did say Monday. Huh.
Yeah.
It is a federal holiday, though.
Yeah, I know. Which explains why my bank hasn't deposited my... or hasn't even acknowledged that eBay paid out today.
Is that for the last box that you did?
Yeah, most recent, yeah. Because my account hasn't sold anything in like a decade. It's like, no, we're going to put you in hiatus again. Great, thanks guys. Appreciate that. I've only had an account on eBay since 2007.
I mean, to be fair, if someone hacked your account and was selling things...
Yeah. Seems a little like, why would they do that, but...
the fact that they didn't change any of your bank information is kind of like here's your clue, but...
Well, I think because the last time I was selling it, they could pay out to PayPal, and now they don't do that.
Yeah, because they're two different companies.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a gripe I have.
Go on.
PayPal owns Venmo.
Yes.
Why can't I send money to or from Venmo with a PayPal account?
I don't know, and it's driving me crazy because I don't want to set up a PayPal or a Venmo account.
Yeah, me neither.
I just don't care.
Also, why do people have why didn't you just pick up PayPal at that point? Like, it's the same damn thing.
Hipsters, man.
Like, what's the difference between PayPal and Venmo? Venmo is on your phone
PayPal's on my phone.
phone number? I don't know. I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, PayPal's on my phone. I can send people PayPal. I can do, like, I don't know. Venmo looks at your contacts, and PayPal can look at your contacts? I don't know. Like, what? I don't know the difference. I don't have a PayPal or a Venmo, so...
Right. It's just foolishness to me.
Like, I'm going to be one of those old people that's...
Yeah, I know. Like,
your kids with your new fancy fandangled.
Like, here I am, a technology teacher, and I'm the most curmudgeonly get off my lawn jerk about new technology at the school.
Like, I love new technology if it's doing something new.
New and different, right. Like the discussions that we had when, about things like ChatGPT and Crayon and stuff like that, the AI stuff, that sparked some really good conversation, and it's cool in that regard. I am terrified of it at this point, but, that's a me problem.
I've just seen Terminator too many times.
Yep, exactly.
But it doesn't help that they have a actual thing called what's that company in Terminator?
Skynet.
Skynet.
Yeah, there's a legitimate Skynet now. We're all doomed. So since tonight's likely the last stream of it being active, yeah. Well done to Adam's sister Faye, our dear friend Mendari, for her Kickstarter breaking 4,000. It is very cool.
Wow.
Yeah, she did a great job. If I actually played RPGs anymore, I would back it, but instead I will just elect to send her some cash.
I didn't know she had a Kickstarter.
Yeah, she did. It's for an system agnostic, but really D&D source book or like supplement book that she's worked really hard on, and like good for her. I'm very proud of her. She's a very hard worker. Of all the This Is Difficult adjacent folks, she's probably, other than Pete, the most successful of us. So good for her.
Awesome.
So there you go. There's Professor Xavier. I'm extraordinarily happy with how the dry brushing came out on the front of his little cart thing.
Extraordinary.
To me, my X-Men. And let's call up a reference image. Now, I have a very specific idea in mind for the Penguin. That should give you a clue as to what it is. I'm going to do Burgess Meredith Penguin. So we're going to get the purple top hat, the purple bow tie, purple umbrella.
Go for it.
Yeah. I'm very excited about this.
So, let me ask you this. When looking at a model, how do you decide what colors to paint it? Do you let the model tell you what colors it wants to be painted? Or do you have an idea in your head and you're just like, nope, I'm going to paint this color because that's my favorite version of this character?
A little bit of both. Or a little bit of all of the above. Like, I try to go like my first inclination is always to go comics accurate. But with a character like the Penguin, Burgess Meredith, in my opinion, is the definitive Penguin. I love Danny DeVito, but like that's Tim Burton's weird BDSM fantasy. It's just not the way I picture Penguin. The more modern interpretations of him as like a gritty kind of like a la Arkham City or whatever. That's again not in line with my take on Penguin. Same with Colin Farrell. So in this case, it boils down to Burgess Meredith is my favorite Penguin on screen, and that just happens to be how I see him in other media, even when I'm reading him on the page. So,
okay, I was just curious.
Penguin is a reject from Guy Ritchie movie. Yeah. That's the one. So here, what I've done is I found a painting of Burgess Meredith as the Penguin that gets close enough to a comic piece, like it looks like a comic cover. Yeah, that I can then use as the basis for my
very good
painting. And so I'm sitting here trying to decide, do I combine purple and pink to get his hat color? Okay, you sure?
I am sure.
I can't right now, RPD, because that's going to kill Chamali's video, but I will do that later.
What's that?
Like, I can't minimize. I'm full screen on Discord right now.
Oh.
So I'm going to try this. I'm going to try combining a purple with like a sort of purpley pink.
I'm assuming he wants you to share a picture?
Yes, that's what he's asking me to do.
Just share your search query. What did you search and how did you find it?
Well, here, I can just do this, RPD. You can post it. Well, maybe. There you go.
We are the champions.
I'm going to mess around with mixing some colors here. This could take a second.
So, I always get nervous about mixing colors when I am just starting, unless it's something I know I'm going to finish.
Oh, this is easy stuff. It's just his hat and his tie and stuff. That's, minor.
So it's also why I didn't want to mix any colors for the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, because with 35 of them, I was not going to do them all.
Right.
And that is why I've realized why, let me learn to talk again. Hold on.
Speaking is difficult.
Yeah. It's, what I've realized is why you have 8 million colors in the lines. It is not because it's difficult to make some of these colors. It's like, oh, I could easily make a blue or an orange out of red and yellow, and this is exactly the orange I want. Perfect. But if you have that orange, it's a lot easier for you to paint an army orange over the course of 2 weeks without making a vat of it.
Right. And for, army-based games or squad-based games even, very manageable. But for individual-based games like Marvel or whatever. Thank you, RPD. Yeah. You don't necessarily want to go the same way with that.
This is the last mini for the first base coat.
Nice. No, you know what? I need is a pink.
Of the blue. Then I have to go back 3, 6, 9, 12. There's 13 of them for a second coat, including the one I'm painting. Well, I mean, out of 35, 13 is not bad.
Yeah, true.
I was actually going pretty well, and probably right after January, I was painting them. Maybe I can get like 5 or 6 done in a night. And I was doing a good job, and then all of a sudden, it all hit me. It came crashing down.
Yeah.
And I needed sleep. So I stopped painting, and then difficult to get back into it sometimes.
Agreed.
But I also have a ton of different hobbies. So
yeah,
painting, it means I'm not playing games, or I'm not doing other things that I want to do, and I do like to share my love of the hobbies equally.
Yeah, absolutely. Still not paint. I'm getting closer. We're closing in on the right color here.
You'll get there. You'll get there. So, yeah. I tend to just switch my like I said, I switch my hobbies. Like there might be like a few weeks that I'm really into painting, and then I really start painting and getting into it, and then I burn myself out on that, and then I'm like, let's play some video games again. So I play some video games.
Yeah.
So I burn myself out on that, and then I'm like, whew, I'm tired. Let's watch some movies or some TV shows, or just chill on my phone for a little bit, and I'll do that for a little bit. Generally, it's rinse and repeat, or I'll read a book.
Right.
It really depends on what I'm into at the moment and what I have time for.
Oh, Jesus. I forgot. Can't have water in them. Otherwise the paint doesn't stick on these models.
But I am really envious of people that just have
a single hobby.
That's my hobby. That's what I do, and it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't even think about that.
That would be nice. So when I do chores and stuff, or when I'm driving, I'll listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
I was listening to Freakonomics podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's an economics one, and normally like that's just like, but it's really interesting because they go into, it's not really like economy stuff. It kind of is, but it's not. It's really,
well, it's approachable economic stuff.
Yeah, they have a whole bunch of different topics and stuff like that. And so today, or last week or something like that, I don't know when. I just tend to put it on play, and I don't know when they come out. But I think it's a more recent one. They republished one from previous. Yeah. And they updated it and stuff like that. They got a couple more interviews about the subject because it's an interesting subject. And the subject was, why does the most monotonous job in the world pay $1 million? And it's like, oh, that's interesting. What is this job? And how can I become it? But it went to a road where I didn't expect, and that is specialization in your trade. And basically, the job is, if you know anything about American football,
Nope.
Which
no, I do.
I don't.
It's okay. I'll get into that in a second. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's start with this. What do you know about American football and the positions of the players?
Okay, very little about that in particular, but I do know, like, pretty solidly the overall strategy of American football. Like, I can make pretty good calls. I don't choose to, because it does not interest me. But, like, I've been around it so much that I just picked up that stuff.
That's fair. So, what players can you name off the top of your head? Or what positions?
Lots of them. I mean, quarterback, tight end, runner, receiver, wide receiver, defensive tackle, offensive tackle. There's a bunch. There's a billion.
Okay, so have you ever heard of a snap?
Yes.
The snapper.
Yeah.
The line, yeah. The long snapper is actually what the title is called.
Yep.
And I have not. I didn't. I was like, I know that's a thing. Now, this is different from the center who snaps the ball to the quarterback.
Right. The long snapper is responsible for, like, when they're punting.
Yes. Specifically when they're punting or going for a field goal.
A field goal,
that extra. Yep. Yes. And the long snapper is a very new position.
Sure.
So new, I think it originated in the 90s.
Yep.
And this guy, his whole job, like you said, is to punt it, or take the ball from the line of scrimmage and throw it to the kicker. So they can either kick a field goal or actually to the holder or the punter.
Right.
But regardless, to kick the ball. And the point, it originated in the 90s because originally they just found the biggest guy and they're like, you can throw a ball somewhat well. You're a center. Just throw it back there. And so they did.
Right.
But occasionally that center would throw it as a bad snap, or the laces. I guess the laces are a big thing. If you've ever watched Ace Ventura, you would know laces have to go out.
Right.
Otherwise, it messes with the kick.
Right.
And so the job is to get 100% accuracy or as close to it as possible.
Yeah.
And that's it. You practice that one thing. You just go snap, snap, snap. And like in football, there's a limited roster too. You can't just like be like, oh yeah, you're cheap enough, we're gonna put you on the roster. You only have a certain number of players you can have.
Yeah. It's player count limited, and I believe there's a salary cap as well.
I think there is a salary cap. However, they're one of the lowest paid players on the team, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But the salary minimum for the NFL, I think, is like they were saying today was $700,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. But after you play for a few years, you'll eventually get to that million mark easily.
Yeah.
Not to mention the other benefits of most of these long snappers had a full ride to college. And, things like that. So like they don't have to pay back the loans, even though they're making a buttload of money afterwards.
Right. Now, so here's where it all breaks down, though. You ready?
Okay.
It is at the recruiting level. Because, and I can tell you with this with some definitive certainty here, parents don't care if, like, or coaches don't care, I should say, at the like peewee and below level, if you are a long snapper, they don't even want you on the team if you can't be multi-talented in that way. So that means you don't get to special, at least up here, right? Where football is more prominent, yes, I'm sure that's different. But like where I'm from, nobody's looking for that.
So funny you mentioned that, because they actually went into this too. There's a guy, I can't remember his name. He was a long snapper. He was one of the first, but he got injured because the NFL is rough, and they didn't put protections into place until afterwards.
Right.
And so basically, the long snapper sits there, has the ball there. He has to look behind him, so he's looking between his legs, hunched over, butt in the air, and throws the ball behind him. And back then, they're like, well, we're going to put a 300-pound guy on the other side of you. And what happens when that ball goes? 300-pound guy comes right at you and hits you in the back of the head.
Right.
That's not good for your body.
Definitely not.
So the NFL put a whole bunch of protections into play to help prevent injuries for the long snapper, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this guy was unfortunate. He did not get to that. He was in the NFL before they put those protections in place. He got hurt and was subsequently ejected. But then he basically formed the long snapper training school, to the point where he is probably, according to this podcast, the foremost expert on long snapping.
Sure.
And originally, like you were saying, the people that would come to his camps and stuff are probably like people in high school or college, and to learn these techniques and stuff like that. He would rate them, and then college coaches would come to him and be like, okay, well, I need a new long snapper. Who do you got? And he would be like, well, here's my rankings of everyone I've seen. And then they would pull off that list, and generally it's a full ride, things like that. Which is good. So, because if they want to go into the NFL, they might be able to, if there's a long snapping opening. If not, they just got a full scholarship to the school of their choice, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And here's where I bring up the Pee-wee, because he said that he's now encountering, this is becoming such a big thing, that he's now encountering kids younger, pre-puberty, so you're talking like 10, 11, 12-year-olds coming to his camp.
Interesting.
That is interesting, because that means that there are parents out there that, I mean, no kid's going to go into football and be like, oh, you know what I want to do? I want to be the long snapper. That's
right.
My position. Everyone's going to be like, I want to be the quarterback or a receiver or a running back or whatever. Not the long snapper. But there are parents out there that see the value in this. And he was saying that pre-puberty is that's the best time to get them, because he can get their form down in pre-puberty.
Right.
Once they, so you get that nice car, you get that really good body, and then you take out that old engine and you just drop a V12 in it once puberty hits, and they're off to the race. And some of those kids are going, just becoming his number one choices, basically.
Right.
So yeah, I agree with your assessment, where it's...
So it occurs to me, though, while that's all well and good, you're still going to have these old-timey football parents, football legacy people, who are they have this mindset that, their kid has to play football, otherwise they're weak,
Yeah.
And these kids going, well, I'm going to be the next big
Tom Brady.
long snapper. And the parent goes, no, you're not. I'd rather you not play football.
Yeah. That's
a
possibility.
I mean, toxic masculinity, I suppose, but...
But at the same time, like we said, I don't think anyone dreams of being the next big long snapper. Like, it's not
right. Well,
it's
at some point, but at some point, that dream is going to get into their head. They're going to go to this camp or whatever and be like, "Hey, look what I can do!" You know.
But even if they do, like, you're talking, the NFL has how many teams? 32, maybe?
I don't even know. I have no clue.
I don't either. I'm just guessing, based on math and numbers. I think 32 sounds like a reasonable number.
Yeah.
There's only one spot on each team for a long snapper. So that's 32 positions in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
For this. And it's not a position that, we just discussed it. These people aren't getting beat up anymore. So the average, I guess, they went into the details here. The average career of a NFL player is about 6 years.
Yeah.
The long snapper is now looking to be a little longer than that.
Right, because they're only on the field for a minute per game total?
A couple plays, and with the new protections in play, they're not
taking the damage, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have that defensive player at 300-something pounds running at you full blast before you have a chance to get your head up.
Right.
So they're looking at longer careers. So you'd be lucky if one position opens, and there are a lot more college schools out there. So even if, let's say, you do go through this school, this long snapper boot camp, the odds of you becoming the next big long snapper, and even if you are, there's no glory in the long snapper.
Right.
Unless it's really a bad snap, most of the time it's, oh, the kicker did that, or it's the kicker's fault, yada yada yada, something along those lines, or the quarterback lost that game. It's not, you never hear the long snapper's name.
Right.
So but that's it's interesting, and they went into specialization and stuff like that, and how specialization there is specialization in every work environment, and that's what can create progress forward and things like that, which is really interesting. That was mentioned slightly, because if you specialize at doing something, if I sit here and I paint these 35 S.H.I.E.L.D. troopers, and then I go on to paint 35 more, and I continue painting them, eventually I'm going to be able to, I'll know exactly how to paint a S.H.I.E.L.D. trooper in my sleep.
10,000 hours, right?
Mm-hmm. I'll be really good at this one thing. And if anyone wants their S.H.I.E.L.D. troopers painted, come to me. I can't paint anything else. But a S.H.I.E.L.D. trooper? Nailed it.
Yeah. Okay, there is a distinct possibility that Penguin is the best sculpt in Gotham City Chronicles.
That's not saying much, though.
No. But it is notably easier to see what I'm doing on this mini than any of the others I've done so far.
That's good. Very good. The other podcast I started recently is the new Greater Than Games one.
Oh, the State of Greater Than Games? I haven't listened to it yet.
It's not called that. It's something else. It's with Christopher and Paul.
Paul, yeah.
I think it's called Playgrader, actually.
Playgrader, yeah. Yeah. It was, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it
You're
basically
right.
was the state of Greater Than Games. They changed the format up. They did a little bit. It's enjoyable. I enjoy it. They play off of each other really well, and that's where I learned of that band that I asked you about, Sleep Token.
Okay. Yes, I did listen to them.
They're very interesting, and I enjoyed them.
Yeah. They're in no way bad. I am finally like the end is in sight for Fake Doctors.
Is it?
Or at least my jumping off point is.
Oh, I stopped a long time ago, and Oh, okay.
What's that?
It's my dehumidifier.
Oh, okay.
Should stop here in a second. It took me a second to figure out what it was. Honestly, I stopped a while ago, and I haven't really looked back.
It started to annoy me. Right around the same time it started to annoy you. For the same reasons, I think, that we won't get into. But they toned that down, and I was like, okay, fine. Let's see if we can ride this out till the end of Scrubs, and then I'm done. Like, once they stop talking about Scrubs, forget about it. I'm done.
Okay.
And at this point, like, I've started even skipping the guest calls. I'm just like, I don't care. I just want to hear their analysis of the TV show Scrubs, and then I'm done with it.
Okay.
And so they just got into season 8, which is my favorite season for obvious reasons. And I'm like, okay, I can make it through season 8 and season 9, and then I'm just done.
What are those reasons?
Oh, that season 8 is my favorite?
Yeah.
So the shift to ABC was really strong. The budget went up. They started shooting in high def. The acting was better. The directing was better because mostly it was just Zach Braff and Bill Lawrence directing and running the show. And I think it was less, stonery.
Okay.
Okay, so his shoes are... He's got black pants.
All right. I accept these.
Yep. These terms.
But I'm surprised you made it this far.
Yeah, like it's... Once they stopped going off on tangents about nonsense and Daniel's Twitch streaming, which really just made me angry. It's like, if you're going to shout out a streamer who's already big, maybe have the common decency to shout out a couple of small streamers too.
I don't think Daniel was big.
He was.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah, like from his DJ career.
Still, like... Yeah, it's not cool at all.
Yeah. So, yep. I was just like, I'm going to be done with this after Scrubs is over. And then that's going to free me up to, like, I jumped off on A Hot Dog as a Sandwich. I still enjoy it, but I was just like, I don't have time for this. So now I'm just listening to Letters Page and Taskmaster podcast. And the thing I love about Taskmaster, actually both of those shows, they stay on topic. They do what they're out there to do.
Well, I would argue that the banter section in Letters Page is complete off topic,
but it's intentionally so,
Yeah.
And, the more I listen to that banter section, the better our banter section is on this show that we're doing right now. So, which
is everything, basically.
Right. But like when Adam's here, we can drill down into some of the stuff that he and Christopher were talking about in the first place, and get a little bit more, Yeah. Like I can't wait to have. I don't know. Have you been listening to Letters Page?
I do. I don't listen to podcasts like super close though. They're mostly noise in the background.
Right.
But same. I have been listening.
So, did you hear the thing about the most Oreo?
Oh, the Morio.
The Morio, yeah.
I saw those at the store.
I did too, and I was like, I, in good conscience, cannot buy this. Nor would I want to. It sounds disgusting.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Oreos, so.
I like double stuffed Oreos with peanut butter.
I'll eat any Oreo with peanut butter. I'll eat almost anything with peanut butter. So, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Peanut butter is the perfect.
Peanut butter's fantastic. It's the best thing.
Yeah, it's perfect. But I did learn. I never heard of the Thins. I didn't know that was a thing.
I did, and I'd never tried them, and now I want to. I think part of it is because I only ever eat Oreos with peanut butter, and I don't think that would work very well. Because the Thins would crack instead of actually holding the peanut butter.
I can definitely see that. Yeah, I don't go down like the cookie section or things like that. So I don't generally see the different, many different levels of Oreos. I know that they exist because I've seen them. It's kind of like the Mountain Dew, the levels of Mountain Dew. I know that there are
Flamin' Hot Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I know that there are things like Flaming Hot Mountain Dew, and there's a million other different flavors. I just don't know what they are.
Right.
Generally. Yeah. Like, I generally, like, as far as drinks go, I stick with water and soda water. That's really it. As far as foods go, I just pick up whatever's on the grocery list, really. I don't really get sweets or things like that. If I get, like, something at the checkout, maybe it's like a York peppermint patty.
Yeah, that's invariably that's what I get. RPD says he drinks way too much Pepsi. At this point, kombucha has just out and out replaced soda. I don't drink soda anymore.
Yeah, I haven't been drinking soda in a long time.
Yep.
But it was funny. Someone asked me the other day, "Are you a Coke or a Pepsi person?" I'm like, "I don't drink either." And they're like, "Well, let's say you had to walk the plank and you had to pick one." I'm like, "Well, I would pick whatever makes me not walk the plank. I don't care."
Yeah, exactly. It is completely immaterial to me. I think if you said cherry Coke or Pepsi, I would go cherry Pepsi every single time. I actually do have an opinion about that from when I used to drink soda. Cherry Pepsi is just better than cherry Coke.
I couldn't even tell you that they taste different. I don't know. I can't recall even ever having cherry Pepsi. I remember cherry Coke, but not cherry Pepsi. So I will take your word on that one.
RPD says, look, part of that is you two being adults while I'm whatever I am. Career autist, I believe is how you described it years ago. I think it applies.
It has nothing to do with really being an adult.
No, I know plenty of adults who drink copious quantities of soda.
Yeah. it's more like I just don't want it or care for it, and it's more of like a money thing too. Like I don't want to spend the money on it. Like
Yeah, if I'm going to spend an additional couple of dollars on a beverage, it's going to be kombucha because it doesn't make me feel like crap.
Yeah, or like even like I don't care to like let's say 12 cans is like $5 or whatever it is, maybe $10. I don't know.
Whatever it is,
$5 or yeah. That $5, I would rather put that towards a mini or paint.
I was going to say a new pot of paint.
Or my games, or like pick up a game or something like that.
Yeah.
Like something that will give me more than the 2 seconds of enjoyment out of drinking it. So
now I say this knowing full well that I'm being a little hypocritical because I do drink a ton of Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, I'll drink coffee. Coffees, yeah. But I almost need coffee at this point.
Yeah,
I have stopped cold turkey multiple times on caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not pleasant to be around during that time.
Nope, me either.
I've done it.
Yeah.
But I don't go to like Starbucks and get a latte. Most of the time it's just
coffee. Yeah, exactly. If I go to Dunkin', it's a cold brew with cream and sugar because for whatever reason, Dunkin' is great at burning their coffee. It's got to be something to do with the beans because cold brew is brewed cold by definition. But like, yeah, it tastes gross on its own. And yet I still continue to go to Dunkin' because it's got a drive-through. And I'll never drink it. I'll never go to Aroma Joe's because my friend Rich found a giant spider in the bottom of his coffee one day.
That's gross.
Yeah, I was like, nope, done. Not going there. But if I go to like even McDonald's, I can just get a black cold brew if they have cold brew there, and it's great. Cold brew should not have to have anything in it.
I'll even do a hot brew black. Like I don't.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, my normal coffee is black. If I'm drinking hot coffee, it's black.
I don't.
I just don't need the.
There's also like part of me like I don't like sweet things very often. I've gotten better, or worse, I should say, because my wife loves sweet things, so she'll have some sweet things in the house, and occasionally I'll be like, okay, I'll nibble on that. But most of the time I don't like sweet things. So before that, if I put anything in my coffee, it's generally like milk or ice, something to cool it down because it's too hot.
Yeah.
But never sugar. I don't like sugar in my coffee. That said, also, I went to Starbucks once and I was like, I wanted their nitro brew, which is cold brew with some nitro in it.
Yes, yeah. Their nitro cold brew. Like, I don't like Starbucks, but and that's because I'm from New England and I'm morally not allowed to like Starbucks. But
Fair.
but yeah, their nitro cold brew is really good.
But I don't like it's too strong. Like their nitro flavor, whatever it is, I don't like that nitro flavor by itself all the time.
Right.
So I like to put some of their foam in there.
Yep.
And so I asked them, I was like, I want this. And I told them, they're like, yeah, we could do that. It's 7 something. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I don't need that.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's dumb. Excuse me, but that's dumb.
Yeah, I'm not paying $7 for that.
No,
I will walk out the door, and I did.
absolutely. That is the correct call. All right.
And it was mainly because I guess like right now they have a. And the only reason I know this is because there's a Starbucks in our grocery store, and I have to walk by it every time I check out. And they have their signage up. So they have a cold brew with some sort of pistachio cream or something like that.
Oh,
and I didn't want the normal cream. I wanted a different flavor. So they had to change it. And so that costs money for them to change and use a different flavor. And it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, sure, fine. But it seems weak to me.
Yeah, that's a weak excuse, and you just lost however much the cold brew costs because and they really don't care because it really doesn't impact them.
No, not at all. Giant coffee conglomerate people, whatever.
You know what does bug me though?
What?
The fact that they ask for tips.
Yeah, what is up with that?
Now, I get that they're not being paid a full, they're not making $100,000 a year or something,
right?
Or 50 or whatever. They're probably getting paid close to minimum wage or whatever like that. But I would say that is a minimum wage job. It
is, by definition, it is.
Yes,
and I feel bad saying that, but Starbucks is not a career.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could make a career out of it.
Sure. Yes. Yes.
Barista
correct. Is right. Yes.
Yes. I think you can make a career out of it, almost anything. But sitting there as a barista, you're probably going to need a second job because that is not going to. It probably won't pay your bills.
Right. RPD's saying something European over there.
So, I mean, I guess I can be. And sometimes I'll throw them if I'm feeling really generous, I'll throw a tip down or something like that a little bit. But it's
it's like
it annoys me.
Yeah, well, because it's not. I mean, the idea of tipping, if I'm understanding it correctly, which I may not be, and I'll front it with that. The idea of tipping is basically to supplement wages that are actually below minimum wage.
Yes. So a waitress or a bartender. So minimum wage, let's say, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to say, let's say it's $10. Okay.
Sure. Making up a number for sure.
Legal minimum wage in this hypothetical world.
Yes. We'll call it Magical Christmas Land.
Yes. So a waitress or a bartender in this case would get something like $3 an hour.
Right.
And the extra salary is supposed to come from tips.
Correct.
So the patrons are supposed to pay for their salary.
Yes. Which keeps the price of the meal down and, allows a little bit of autonomy in terms of the pay of the actual employee.
Yeah. And the concept makes sense. If the employee gave you good service, you give them more money. If not, give them less or no money, right?
Right.
However, I just give everyone basically 20%.
I do all this as well. Because it's easy to calculate.
It's easy to calculate, and I don't know if they're having a bad day or whatever. I don't want to be the dick to be
of course not.
You're having a bad day, and
I'm going to make it worse. Yeah.
So I'm going to, exactly. I'm going to make it worse by not giving you your money. So it essentially stops all of that, keeping food down and all that, because you're adding 20% to everything now. Occasionally, I'll even give them more if I'm feeling extra generous or something. Most of the time,
they've done something actually above and beyond, yeah, right, yes.
But it's so I would much rather just have them give them a real livable wage,
and not ask for yes, exactly, yeah,
and increase the price of food at 20%.
Yep, absolutely.
Then you don't have to Then you don't have to put on the tip. Oh, parties of 8 or more, we automatically charge you this 20%. Well, or I think it's like 15%. We'll automatically charge you this 15% or something like that sometimes. And it's like, well, I would have given you more, but now I'm not gonna because you just charged me and you put it on here, and that annoys me even more.
Yeah.
Because now I have to. You want me to take out that 15% and add in another, because adding 5% to that 15% isn't 20%.
Right. All right, I'm gonna hit this with another coat of black.
So yeah, I think that tipping should just be gone, done away with. Give people a normal salary.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't even know how we got on that topic.
I don't either. But I also think that, and I know this is a thing that happens because reasons. I won't throw anybody under the bus, but I know someone who does this as a restaurant owner. Who, yes, your employees are supposed to split tips, but that doesn't mean you get extra. Like, you don't get a cut of their tip money.
Oh, that's a dick move. No.
Yeah.
They do not. No. The tips money goes to your waitresses and waiters and bartenders. And if they want to split them, then they probably should, because... But... so, my sister-in-law, she bartends.
Yep.
And it's one of those things where it's annoying. She gets annoyed with her coworkers that she has to split money with when they don't want to do anything, when they're just a bad employee. She's like, well, why do I have to pay for them? And I lose out on my money when I'm busting my ass here, and they're sitting there doodling on their phone or whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Not only are they bringing in less now, but now I have to give up the money that I'm putting forward.
Yeah.
For the group. So.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's one of those problems, and
another problem that would be simply alleviated by just saying, no, we pay our employees a livable wage. No tips, please.
Yeah.
But then, like, how can... I guess the counter argument to that I don't have an answer for is, how do you trust that?
Mm-hmm. And how do you decide, like, oh, what's a good employee and what's a bad employee?
Right.
I mean, if you want to get into it, like, there's a reason communism really failed in the and that is because when you really start looking into it and you look at, oh, everyone's getting paid the same amount of money for doing whatever they're special at, and it's an ideal world because you can do whatever you want. But when a doctor is making the same thing as the McDonald's employee and they're both getting there, really the scam becomes, how can I do as little work
as possible? Yeah.
Yeah, and when everyone's doing as little as possible, it becomes bad.
Yep.
And you have a failed... And I'm not saying that capitalism is the best way, because...
It's definitely got its flaws, too.
It has its flaws too, but you have competition. That's really the only benefit. But that also breeds a lot of other issues.
Yeah, a whole bunch of them.
But
all right, Nolan Oil. Now here's the question: do I ink his purple bits with purple? I think the answer is probably.
Purple bits should be purple.
Yeah, but sometimes I'll use Nolan Oil to make things look grittier. But in that I'm going for Burgess Meredith Penguin, I think Druchii Violet will do the job perfectly adequately.
Yeah, you should probably do like a darker purple in the recesses instead of like a blacker.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, you could always go from purple to black.
Yeah, but you can't go from black to purple.
Yeah. So if you don't like
What?
the way it looks...
Why are we having advertisements? I didn't ask for that. I just wanted F-Zero.
No advertisements, please. This is an ad-free zone except for GT's kombucha.
Yep, which is not a sponsor, but, you know, Dave, do the right thing.
How have you looked into making your own? How much have you looked into that?
I've got a kit coming.
Oh, you've got a kit. Oh, so you've already actually purchased a kit and it's on its way.
Yes.
That's exciting.
Yes.
When
I
is that
don't
supposed to
have a
arrive?
clue when this week. But I don't have a clue when I'll actually be able to get to use it, but
Or do it, or start it, or...
whatever the vernacular is, yeah.
Do you know how long it takes?
I do not.
My guess is that it's not a short process.
I'm sure it's not.
I think it takes... No, I'm making this up, but I want to say probably I've heard like a month or so.
It's got to be something like that, right?
Yeah.
This is the first song I came even close to learning as like a shred song on guitar.
What is it?
Mute City from F-Zero.
Cool.
It was not even close, but it's first like complicated set of notes on multiple strings.
You know, they don't make songs like they did in the old generation, like the SNES and things like that.
Very true.
I
mean, they do, but they're not. They're just not as good.
They're overcomplicated sometimes.
Yes, agreed.
Like you said, they're good. It's just there are a few newer songs that are just really so, like the Halo theme song.
Yeah.
Big fan of that one. It's just good.
Yeah. And now we're back to everything was better in the 90s, so we're really watching paint dry. We're on brand.
I'd say the Halo one was like in the aughts. I think that was like 2004, 2005.
Yeah, but like as we all know, the aughts are just the 90s.
That's fair. Skyrim. I like the Skyrim song. I don't really care for Skyrim itself, but
Well, it's an open world game.
yeah. I did like Oblivion though.
I loved Oblivion. Morrowind was great too.
But also back then I didn't have all these open world games drowning me in open world games.
Right. All right. Well, I am in a position where I have to watch paint dry. So I think we'll just show off what we did tonight.
Well, I am down to, after I finish this one, 6 second coats left on my shield troopers. So I would have finished 5 single coats and 6 second base coats. Plus, she seems to be dried.
Nice.
And I really like the way she's turning out.
6 seconds of coding. You really are very close to finishing. Yeah, I mean, it's you notice the difference now because like we're you and I use a very, very similar method. The difference being because I'm working on individual characters, my first and second coats go on almost immediately on top of each other. Like there's very little time in between. But because you're mass producing, it takes a little bit longer. You're doing the first coat, being satisfied with that, and then doing the second coat.
Yeah.
So like what you just saw, especially with the black there, is I did a first coat of black, finished the entire rest of the mini, and then did the second coat of black. But because it's black on black, you don't really see much. But like the hat, where it went on like really thin at first, and then like really smoothed out on the second coat. That's the result that I think you're looking for, really.
I tend to thin my paints a decent amount.
Yeah.
So I do multiple coats because of that.
Right.
I've done the thicker paints where it's one coat and done. I just don't like.
I used to do that, and I'm just like, ugh. It doesn't look as smooth, and that's my big gripe. All right. Well. Hold on.
I think we're in this brush.
Make sure I'm good here. Yeah, I do look. Everything looks fine there. All right. Well, on that on that little bit of learning and growing, I think it is time to call it. Mike, it is an absolute joy hanging out with you, man. It's been a long time since it's just been you and me on a call, so that's kind of cool. Get to go deep on some of these economic issues that are always banging around in my head, but I never have anybody to be a sounding board, so that's kind of fun. So thank you for that. Thank you for hanging out, man.
No problem. It was fun. It was a good conversation.
Yeah. And I think we'll be back next week. I do have a family dinner, but my daughter's got to go to bed at her bedtime because, oh my God, ads again. Shut up with this YouTube. What the hell? That's fine. We got it. So yeah, I have no reason to suspect that we won't be live next week. I will be live on Monday night at somewhere between 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern time to start Chrono Trigger. I'm finally going to play Chrono Trigger. And I've got it working on hardware. So I'm very stoked about that. Can actually use this good old beastie right here, my beloved Super Nintendo controller that desperately needs a clean. Oh God, there's like stuff in my Y button. I should probably pull that apart and clean it. Learning and growing. All right. Take care, everybody. Be safe, be well, and we'll talk to you real soon. Bye.